Marie Antoinette, born Maria Antonia Josepha Johanna on November 2, 1755, in Vienna, Austria, was the youngest daughter of Holy Roman Emperor Francis I and Empress Maria Theresa. As a member of the powerful Habsburg dynasty, her early life was characterized by privilege, duty, and intense preparation for a political future. She is best known as the last Queen of France before the French Revolution, and her legacy has been a complex mix of glamour, scandal, and tragedy. Early life and marriage. Marie Antoinette grew up in the Austrian court, surrounded by wealth, culture, and political intrigue. Her mother, Maria Theresa, was one of the most formidable rulers of her time, balancing numerous wars and alliances to maintain Austria's influence. As a child, Marie Antoinette was not particularly distinguished by intellect or political acumen, and her education was considered inadequate for a future queen. Her early schooling focused more on music, dancing, and etiquette than on the political sciences and philosophy. At the age of 14, in an effort to strengthen the alliance between Austria and France, Marie Antoinette was betrothed to Louis Auguste, the Dauphin of France. The marriage took place on May 16, 1770, and she became Dauphine of France, and later, when her husband ascended to the throne, Queen of France. The marriage was part of Empress Maria Theresa's diplomatic strategy to secure Austria's relationship with France, a historically hostile power. Marie Antoinette's transition from the Austrian court to the French court at Versailles was challenging. She was initially unprepared for the rigid etiquette and complex social codes that governed life at the French court, and her early years as Dauphine were marked by homesickness and isolation. However, her charm, beauty, and lively personality soon won her admirers and helped her adapt to her new role. Life as Queen of France. In 1774, after the death of King Louis XV, her husband ascended the throne as King Louis VI, and Marie Antoinette became Queen of France at just 19 years old. The early years of her reign were marked by her lavish spending, extravagant lifestyle, and the growing discontent of the French populace, who perceived her as out of touch with the struggles of the common people. Marie Antoinette's reputation for luxury and excess was partly due to her fascination with fashion and her love of entertaining. She became a trendsetter in French court society, known for her elaborate hairstyles and ornate dresses. Her indulgence in expensive tastes, coupled with France's financial difficulties, fed into a growing narrative that the Queen was a symbol of the monarchy's excess and disconnection from reality. The Queen's personal life was not without challenges. For the first 7 years of her marriage, Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI had no children, leading to speculation about the king's abilities and the queen's fertility. This situation put considerable pressure on the royal couple. Finally, in 1778, Marie Antoinette gave birth to her first child, Marie Thérèse, followed by 3 more children: Louis-Joseph, Louis-Charles, and Sophie. Unfortunately, only Marie Thérèse survived into adulthood. Marie Antoinette's intimate circle was filled with close companions, such as the Princess of Lamballe and the Duchess of Polignac, leading to rumors of improper relationships and a growing sense of scandal surrounding her private life. Her perceived frivolity earned her the moniker Madame Deficit, as the French economy suffered under a crushing national debt, partly from involvement in the American Revolution and lavish court spending. The French Revolution and decline. By the late 1780s, France's political and financial situation had become dire. A series of bad harvests, heavy taxation, and rising bread prices created widespread discontent among the lower classes, which culminated in the French Revolution. In 1789, the storming of the Bastille marked the beginning of a revolutionary period that would ultimately dismantle the French monarchy. Marie Antoinette was increasingly vilified as a symbol of all that was wrong with the monarchy. Her role in political decision-making was exaggerated, and she was often blamed for the actions of her husband, who was a weak and indecisive leader. One of the most damaging pieces of propaganda against her was the infamous and likely apocryphal, quote, "Let them eat cake," supposedly uttered when she was informed that the people had no bread. While there is no historical evidence that she ever said this, it epitomized the popular perception of her as indifferent and out of touch. As revolutionary fervor grew, the royal family was forced to make concessions to the revolutionaries. In 1789, they were moved from Versailles to the Tuileries Palace in Paris, effectively becoming prisoners of the Revolution. In 1791, the family made a failed attempt to escape France in the so-called Flight to Varennes, hoping to reach the Austrian border and rally foreign support for the monarchy. Their capture and return to Paris further eroded any remaining trust the people had in the royal family. Trial and execution. In 1792, the French monarchy was officially abolished, and Louis XVI was placed on trial for treason. He was convicted and executed by guillotine in January 1793. Marie Antoinette, now the widow of the king, became known as the Widow Capet. Her fate was sealed, and she was subjected to harsh treatment during her imprisonment in the Conciergerie, a former royal palace turned prison. In October 1793, Marie Antoinette was put on trial by the Revolutionary Tribunal, accused of treason, depletion of the national treasury, and even incest with her young son, a charge that shocked and appalled her. The trial was largely a farce, designed to provide a veneer of legitimacy to her execution. Despite her dignified defense, she was convicted on all counts. On October 16, 1793, Marie Antoinette was executed by guillotine in the Place de la Révolution in Paris, just months after her husband's death. She was 37 years old. Her final words were addressed to the executioner, after accidentally stepping on his foot. "Pardon me, sir. I did not do it on purpose." Legacy and historical perception. Marie Antoinette's life and legacy have been the subject of intense scrutiny, myth-making, and re-evaluation. In her own time, she was both admired and loathed, admired for her beauty, elegance, and charm, but loathed for her perceived extravagance and detachment from the struggles of the French people. The propaganda and rumors that circulated during her lifetime, particularly in the lead-up to the French Revolution, played a significant role in shaping her posthumous reputation. However, modern historians have offered more nuanced interpretations of Marie Antoinette's life. While she was undoubtedly a symbol of the old regime and its excesses, she was also a victim of the political and social forces beyond her control. Her position as queen was largely ceremonial, and she wielded far less political power than many of her contemporaries believed. In recent years, her image has been partially rehabilitated. Biographers have painted a more sympathetic picture of her as a young woman thrust into an incredibly difficult role at a tumultuous time. Her love of fashion and luxury, once seen as evidence of her moral failings, is now often viewed as a form of self-expression in a world where she had little political agency. The cultural fascination with Marie Antoinette continues, as her life embodies the tragic fall of the French monarchy and the excesses that preceded the Revolution. Conclusion. Marie Antoinette's life is emblematic of the opulence and fragility of the French monarchy in its final years. As the last queen of France, she became a lightning rod for the anger and frustration of the French populace, though many of the problems facing the nation were beyond her control. Her tragic end and the myths that have grown around her make her one of the most intriguing and controversial figures in European history, symbolizing the downfall of an entire system of governance and society in revolutionary France. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel